The comparison trap. Why everyone else's life looks better than yours. Have you ever caught yourself scrolling through Instagram, seeing everyone's perfect vacations, promotions, and relationships, and suddenly felt terrible about your own life? That sinking feeling isn't just in your head. It's a psychological phenomenon that's affecting millions of Americans, and it might be sabotaging your happiness in ways you don't even realize. In a 2023 survey, 76% of Americans reported feeling inadequate when comparing themselves to others on social media. The average user spends 2.5 hours daily scrolling through carefully curated highlights of other people's lives. That's over 900 hours per year spent in what psychologists now call the comparison trap. The paradox is striking. We're more connected than ever, yet rates of loneliness, anxiety, and depression are skyrocketing. Could our constant exposure to others' highlight reels be turning our own behind-the-scenes footage into a source of shame? Social comparison theory was first proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger in 1954. He discovered that humans have an innate drive to evaluate themselves by comparing their abilities and achievements to others. This comparison served an evolutionary purpose. In small tribal communities, knowing where you stood helped maintain social harmony. But here's the critical difference. Our ancestors compared themselves to maybe 150 people throughout their lifetime. Today, we're exposed to thousands of carefully edited lives every week. Harvard psychologist Teresa Amabile describes this as comparing our insides to others' outsides, an inherently unfair comparison that creates what researchers call a misery gap. This gap represents the difference between how you feel about your life and how you perceive others' lives to be. What's fascinating is that this comparison happens automatically. Studies using fMRI brain scans show that social comparison activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Literally, seeing someone else's success can hurt in the same way a physical injury does. This comparison trap manifests in three harmful ways in modern American life. First, there's career comparison anxiety. LinkedIn has become a highlight reel of professional achievements, creating what economists call relative deprivation, the feeling that you're falling behind regardless of your actual success. A 34-year-old software engineer from Seattle told researchers, "I've doubled my salary in 3 years, but scrolling through LinkedIn makes me feel like an underachiever." Second, there's lifestyle inflation. Americans are spending an estimated $3,600 annually on purchases motivated primarily by social comparison, not actual need or enjoyment. That's money spent not on what brings happiness, but on keeping up appearances. Third, there's the happiness facade, the pressure to appear perpetually happy and fulfilled. Studies show 62% of Americans admit to posting content that makes their lives look better than reality, creating a cycle where everyone compares their reality to everyone else's fiction. What's happening in your brain during social comparison? Neuroscience offers fascinating insights. When you see someone else's success, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, while simultaneously reducing serotonin, which regulates mood. This chemical cocktail creates a threat response, as if you're facing a physical danger. Meanwhile, your brain's reward center gets hijacked. Dopamine, which evolved to motivate survival behaviors, now responds to social validation metrics like likes and comments. This creates what psychologists call a variable reward schedule, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The most insidious aspect is that this psychological mechanism operates largely below conscious awareness. In experiments where participants were asked to report their emotional state after viewing social media, they consistently underestimated the negative impact compared to objective measures of their mood. But here's the liberating truth that changes everything. The comparison trap isn't just harmful, it's based on a fundamental illusion. When you compare yourself to others, you're not comparing yourself to reality. You're comparing your complete, messy, behind-the-scenes life to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel. It's like comparing your rough draft to someone else's published work. The most successful, seemingly perfect people you follow are experiencing the same insecurities, failures, and mundane moments that you are. They're just not sharing them. Understanding this asymmetry of information doesn't just make you feel better, It cuts through a fundamental delusion about human experience. How can you break free from the comparison trap? Here are 3 evidence-based strategies. First, practice conscious consumption. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that limiting social media to 30 minutes daily reduces depression, adrenaline, and loneliness significantly. The key is quality over quantity. Use technology intentionally rather than reflexively. Practical step. Try the one in, one out rule. For every person you follow who makes you feel inadequate, follow someone who inspires authentic growth or represents genuine values alignment. Second, develop comparison awareness. Dr. Kristin Neff's research on self-compassion shows that simply identifying when you're making unhelpful comparisons reduces their emotional impact by 40%. Practical step. When you notice comparison thoughts, name them explicitly. I'm comparing my career to hers, or I'm comparing my body to his. This simple labeling interrupts the automatic emotional response. Third, reframe your metrics. A landmark study from Harvard's longest-running happiness research project found that the quality of your close relationships is the strongest predictor of well-being, not status, achievement, or appearance. Practical step, create a personal growth dashboard with 3 to 5 metrics that matter to you, like time spent with loved ones, creative pursuits, or learning new skills. Track these instead of external validation metrics. Imagine living free from the constant anxiety of comparison, where your worth isn't determined by how you stack up against others, but by your alignment with your own values and growth. The most radical act in today's hyper-connected world might be choosing to be fully present in your own life rather than a spectator of others. What's one area where comparison has been affecting your happiness? Share in the comments below. Your honesty might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this video resonated with you, hit subscribe for more psychology insights that can transform how you navigate modern life. Remember, everyone else is just figuring it out too. They're just not posting about that part.